So we're back at it here. I'm going to do some further testing of the X-68. And today I'm going to, further testing on the mag drop problem. We're going to test a magazine of 6 riot balls, 9.9 gram, the heavies, and we'll test the 8.4 Smasher XLs, which 8.4 gram. We'll test those as well. I think we'll start with the Smasher XLs, a little bit less weight, so we'll start with those. I'll be doing a service loop with the electrical tape just in case the mag does drop again. I'm down to 2 mags, so I'm going to try to avoid them hitting the floor anyways. One thing I'm going to do differently is on the X-68 here, this particular Stormtrooper build with the CO2 preheater. I'm not going to use preheated CO2 whatsoever. This way I can kind of rule out the preheated hot CO2 air from maybe making the problem worse than it should be. So I'm going to, again, not use the preheater. This is going to be just room temperature CO2 that I put in the 2 times 12 gram Umarex. Same thing with the one in the handle. I was having some, I guess, on and off problems with this 2 times 12 gram puncturing both of the 12 grams in here. The outboard 12 gram, the last one that, last in, first out one, was kind of not consistently puncturing, even with that little spacer I put in there. I had another one of these quick puncture, 2 times 12 grams, laying around, a newer one. I believe it was the newer of the two. So I did replace the puncture cap from that one on here, just in case it's sharper. The other one looked pretty dull, so I don't know if that'll help at all. So we'll see. Hopefully I get a good puncture, and I'm running on 36 grams for this test. But again, I'm not going to be preheating the CO2. Therefore, whatever it is what it is. If it ends, hopefully it's going to be a little higher than 850, because the problem seemed to materialize mostly above 850 psi. However, we'll meter what the psi is, and I'll let you know what it is as well in here in the video. But if it ends up being less than 900 psi, we're going to shoot through it anyways and see what happens. But I wouldn't be terribly surprised if we don't see any mag drops, even with the heavier ammo, if we're not running at least 900 psi. So, but I want to see if it plays in, because I mean, you figure that CO2 air, when I was preheating it, it's at like 100 degrees, so I don't know how that's playing in, if it's playing a part, because it's also that hot air is coming in contact with the colder air from the handle CO2, which is not preheated. I don't know if that's causing more turbulence in there, the additional volume, and then the mixing of hot and cold. That could be exaggerating my problem. I know I'm not the only one with this particular mag drop problem, but mine seems to be pretty severe. So I want to kind of rule that in and out. It's more data. So anyways, I've probably explained it more than I needed to. So let's start off by puncturing. Then I'll get the tape on there, and then we'll start with the 8.4 gram Smasher XLs. All right, we got a good puncture there on the handle. Sounds good. Let's see. We got 732, I think it says. 732 psi. That's just from the handle CO2. I'm going to puncture the 2 in the Umarex cylinder. Okay. It appears to be a good puncture. Again, I've been bitten by this before. You kind of assume they're both punctured, but we'll see at the end. All right. Again, it hasn't been preheated. We're sitting at 5, 6, 7, just a little bit over 700 psi on the line side gauge. Okay. Room temperature CO2. Not preheated. All right, now we're up to about 752. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and off. On. Wow, that's a lot easier to turn when you only got about 700 psi there. Much easier. I'll tell you, when I was preheating, this was really a struggle to turn this on. So now we're kind of stabilizing at about 820 psi. Okay, about 820. So if this follows suit the way it did yesterday, yesterday's rounds of testing, I ended up testing twice yesterday, we probably won't see this problem at all. So, but I'm gonna start off with the smasher. Anyways, we'll grab some numbers, and then I'll do the 9.9 gram riot balls. But yeah, I don't know if this is gonna give me too much. 828 now. So it's in that normal CO2 range, you know. I'll be testing this as well with HPA with 1100 psi, and that's a colder gas, so it won't be, obviously it's not going to be like preheated CO2. So I'll be trying that next as well. All right, let's put the smashers in. Let's chrono these while we're at it. I'll just throw this tape over here. Again, just as a little insurance. I'm not expecting it to drop because the pressure's, not even 850. But I'm gonna hold it there anyways. Like I said, I got 2 mags left that I've been limping along. But that third one took a big hit, and I don't dare shove that in here. So, all right, we're gassed up. 832 psi is what we got on the digital gauge right now, and we have 6, 7, a little over 7 on the line side gauge. All right, let's see what we get. Turn the laser on. All right, mag 1, shot 1. This is going to be 8.4 gram Smasher XLs. .452 feet per second. Wow, kicked that right over. All right. So that was shot 1. Let's try shot 2. 8.4 gram Smasher XLs. 450 feet per second. Shot 3. 436 feet per second. Shot 4. 428 feet per second. The fact that it's still shooting, I don't even have to look, but obviously nothing dropped out this time. I think with too low on pressure with the regular, without preheating those CO2s, the pressure's not high enough to cause a problem. What did I say? Shot 4? I'm on shot 5. 434 feet per second. And I think this is shot 6, although I think I may have messed up my count. All right, we're going to call it shot 6, see what happens. Yeah, it was shot 6, okay. 426 feet per second. All right, so that was the, we're at 6, just a little under 7 here. Yeah, 774. So we got about 774 psi left. Okay. So it didn't budge because we were we were at a little bit less than 850 psi. So we were in the normal CO2 range. And again, it wasn't preheated CO2. I chose to not bother preheating so that I could kind of see what it would do with a cold gas versus cold and hot mixing. You know, maybe it's causing turbulence in there, more turbulence than normal due to the mixing of the cold CO2 air with the preheated stuff was sitting probably at 100 degrees, 104 degrees. So today, none of that. They're all at the same temperatures or pretty close. Everything worked out fine. No mag drop. Could be because there's no pressure, or it could be because we're not mixing cold and hot air together in here. Maybe the way I was doing it was a bad idea. All right, so we have the gas in here. No sense in wasting it. We're going to do a magazine of the 9.9 gram riot balls next. Okay, 9.9 gram riot balls. Shot 1. 404 feet per second. Shot 2. 394 feet per second. Shot 3. 388 feet per second. Shot 4. Oh, came right back and hit me a leg. 382 feet per second. That stung a little bit, but wasn't too bad. All right, what are we on? Shot 5. Let's hit a different spot. I'm going to wear a hole away in that spot. 382. I think that was shot 5. This should be 6. Shot 6. 372. Let me just dry fire it in case I do have another one in there. I may have lost track here with all my talking. Woo! That's loud when you dry fire. Okay. So that's that. Just wanted to do a quick little test. I'm going to keep this video very short. Still had about 600 psi left in there. Again, this was 36 grams, what I believe to be. So we're going to check the punctures really quick, and then we'll kill that. And I'll add the numbers to edit them into the video. So we're running, 12 minutes on this video. I'm going to try to keep this short. All right. Let's check these first, since these are the ones that always give us a problem. I mean, we know this punctured. We can hear that. Let's see what we got. I tell you, it was a lot easier operating this. It's a lot harder when you got to operate this on and off when it's pushing over 1,000 psi. Excuse me. Also, I did not even shim it up because I was using Umerix cartridges in an Umerix cylinder. So I figured, hey, it's supposed to work with the Umerix branded stuff. So I didn't even use that shim in here this time. And looks like I did get a puncture on that stubborn one that I had. Ooh, here we go. Come on. Whew. Yeah, those are cold. Not super frosty in there, but definitely colder than I'm used to. All right, so we got a pretty decent puncture there. That was the last in, first out. This is the one that I had trouble puncturing yesterday. It only punctured 1 out of the 2 tests that I ran. It also, incidentally, the day before, also didn't puncture. So that's using the newer puncture cap that I had, and also no, Umerix branded cartridges, but no shim in between. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this shim wasn't helping me with the Umerix branded cartridges. I don't know. So that is the outboard one. As I put oil all over my barrel. Good job, Alan. And let's take a look at the other one here. Yeah, good tear on that one too. So at least I can verify this test was with 36 combined grams one in the handle, two in the Umeric cylinder. So that was a 36 gram test. Okay. I was getting, right after I punctured everything, I was only getting not even 850 psi. Again, not using the preheater. Okay. Didn't have any mag drop problems with either heavyweight ammunition, the 8.4 or the 9.9. I mean, what does that tell me? I mean, yesterday's testing, I already knew. I already knew that once you drop below 850 psi, even preheated, even with the preheated CO2, the problem wasn't happening. So it was happening consistency north of 850 psi. So what does this tell me? I guess it just verifies more, just a little more verification. That's about it. I think that's all it really tells me. At the end of the day, I guess what's going to really tell me something would be the next test that I do, which is going to be 1100 psi high pressure air. This way, nothing's heated up. That's what room temperature air. It's not like I'm mixing cold and hot air inside the chamber, like I'm doing with the preheating 2 cartridges and then having the unheated CO2 in the handle. So maybe that makes some sense. I don't know. Maybe that's playing into my problem, making it worse, because my problem was pretty bad. I mean, those things were launching like the space shuttle, launching like a Scud missile. Anyways, we'll try that next. We'll do the test with the 1100 HPA through the back, through the rear ASA, and we'll see what it does there. Thanks for watching. Peace out.